We'll start with talking about our audience. Who will read your text? Scientists, lawyers, engineers, echo boomers, children. For example, historical ligatures may not go down too well with preschool children. This sort of font it has a classical look to it and probably would not be used in a poster for, say, good nutrition at an elementary school. Does it look right? Again, back to the eye. Use your eye. As you learn more and more and study more and more, your eye and your brain will be able to answer this question much better. Does it look right? If your text's final destination is paper, then print it and see. Your type might look great on the screen, but it may look like a train wreck on paper. There really is no substitute for printing. If setting for the screen, then check it on both PC and Mac and at different resolutions and screen sizes. ilovetypography.com is a website that I go to often. There's a tremendous amount of information there, and I highly suggest that you do your own research in addition to the short lectures that we are experiencing right now. Two types of serifs we will speak about right now. There are many types, but there are two that are fairly predominant that you will need to understand. Adnate and abrupt. Adnate is a serif which flows smoothly to or from the stem. And here is an example of the letter I. You can see the serif and the transition from the stem is a smooth one. Abrupt is a serif which breaks suddenly from the stem at an angle. And there is an example right there. So when you compare the two, it's very easy to see which is abrupt and which is adnate. Arial and Helvetica are two fonts that often are mistaken for each other. The reason I bring these two fonts into the conversation is because the study of fonts, as you learn to really love typography as a designer, means that you will really look closely, literally under a magnifying glass, to see what the slight nuances are between each font. And these two fonts are great fonts to analyze because they're so close, but yet they're not the same. We see here in the letter Q in Arial Roman that slight wave to that part of the Q, whereas down below it's just a straight line. In the letter G, we see the addition to that part right there, and also the number 1, how that swirls there, and this is straight, and in the letter R, how that has that nice little swirl at the bottom. Often are mixed up, but they are different. The point here is that really study fonts and look at the little nuances between each individual font. As I said, these are often confused and often the subjects of mistaken identity. A number of the glyphs are almost identical, and even an expert would have difficulty telling them apart. However, there are a few that stand out as being quite different, and we've just reviewed those. Anti-aliasing is a term that you will hear a lot as it relates to typography and specifically how fonts will appear on the web. Anti-aliasing is a software technique for diminishing jaggies, stair-step-like lines that should be smooth. Jaggies occur because the output device, which is the monitor or printer, doesn't have a high enough resolution to represent a smooth line. Anti-aliasing reduces the prominence of jaggies by surrounding the stair steps with intermediate shades of gray for grayscaling devices, for example, or color for color devices. And you can see those jagged edges right there that would need to be smoothed out so that they would look better in an online format by using anti-aliasing in your design. The downside is they tend to get a little blurry on the edges.